Big up, everybody. It's your girl, Sofia, aka Sophie, back here for Sophia's Football Talk for a very special new series that I wanted to start. And, the first episode had to be with a bang, with, talking about one of my favorite football players of all time. It's Adriano. We're going to be focusing on the highlights, you know, the good times that he had. And I wanted to have a special guest here. We got fellow Inter fan, Uncle Sharma. How are you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah. No, thank you for inviting me on. Is a really interesting concept of a show. So excited to be on. And yeah, talking about one of the one of my favorite players of all time, Adriano, the Imperatore, as they called him in Italy,
Yes,
Inter fans.
exactly. Yes. People, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have linked Uncle Sharma's channel down below. It's also in the title, so just click on it and show him some love. He does a lot of inter content, very knowledgeable, and it's entertaining. Legit. That's what I can say. So hey, show him some love.
In a good way.
So yeah. But yeah, so big up everybody that's here. We got Ends Man, big up. Hope you're doing well. I did also see a comment earlier today from Devils United, aka Macy. So thank you. Show her some love as well. If you want to become an SFT member, we got the link in the description box, as well as pinned in the chat. So just another way to support the channel. But you simply do support by just liking, viewing, and subscribing. All those things are free. So we're not that far away from 2K. So it'll be great for that to happen. And Eddie, my fellow United supporters, said Sofia and Sharma, good eve. Great content talking about one of the Brazilian powerhouses. He is my favorite Brazilian striker. Hey, big up to you, Eddie. Yes. Big up to Ionis, I think. Yeah, big up Sofia from
Yanis.
England. Big up to you. Welcome. So let's just kick it off. I want to hear your thoughts, Uncle Sharma. Like, what was your view watching Adriano back in the day? And what do you feel now, later, after he's, obviously put the boots onto the shelf and, not playing anymore?
Yeah, I think he's. I think when you know the name of your show, I think you've picked episode one perfectly because I think he's like the definition of streets won't forget. Because even if you weren't an Inter fan, he was like the guy that transcended like fan base, and like I'm sure even Milan fans and Juve fans would be like appreciating this guy. Also because he didn't play long enough to hurt them. So like
Yes.
he didn't. I think I've got his stats up here. He's only played like 300 league games in like his whole career, which is like not much at all.
Oh.
But yeah, my childhood memories because I grew up in Italy. So
Mm,
between the ages of 1 and 13, I used to live in Italy. So
mm.
yeah, pretty much when he broke through in the team around like 2002, 2003. I think went out on loan and came back. Those
Yes.
04, 05 kind of again only a couple of seasons really at his peak. Oh, actually, you could say he never really reached his peak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just the memories where like this guy, R9 was the reason I started supporting into Ronaldo, the original, the
Yeah.
OG. But I was like too young back then, so he was kind of like
Same.
eye catching. But this guy was like I was starting to watch football a little bit
Yeah.
more, understand. So he was like my real first kind of idol, you could say.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel the same as well. Like, when I was like watching him, like in 2004, I was 9. Italian football was, still kicking about, hella entertaining, and the guy was just wonderful to look at with the mean left foot. Like Eddie says, the only guy who I've seen with 99 shot power on FIFA. Guy was a force. He really was a force to be reckoned with. And like you mentioned there, Uncle Shama, that it's unfortunate with him not necessarily playing that many games and whatnot, because when he was, at least at the peak of that Inter time, in the 2004, 2005 ish, maybe up until 2006 as well, the guy was a force to be reckoned with, not just for Inter, but also for Brazil as well. Like, you know, people talk
Yeah,
about Ronaldo, but this guy in the mid 2000, yo,
yeah, he was supposed to be the guy to take over from Ronaldo because after Ronaldo, Brazil have never really had that striker up front, so they thought he was going to be their guy for like
hmm
10, 15 years. And still, even if you think about it now, they still haven't really, they never really had a number nine since then.
Yes.
I mean, Pato came, and he's another streets won't forget type of player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a reason why I wanted to kick this off with now, because it's important that these kids today know, because we remember.
The OGs, yeah. No, I
We
think
remember. Yeah.
the thing with Adriano is I think he would fit in, like, I don't like comparing eras,
Mm-hmm.
but he could actually, because football changes so much now. I think like even football from 10 years ago now is like completely different to what it is
Good
now.
point.
But this guy, I think he could fit in right like into modern football because he was athletically like such a beast. People like, if you haven't seen like, not the like, I don't want you to like your history to get weird on your browser, but just type in like Adriano topless or whatever. Like the guy's physique was, unreal. Like,
Yes.
6 pack, 8 pack, chiseled, lean, mean machine at his peak. Pace, power. He had everything, and the left foot that, one of those rare gifts from God that, Roberto Carlos type left foot, just power and accuracy. Just so blessed, so blessed.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I mean, the guy at one stage of his career was like one of the most exciting talents in world football. And like you said, his physique, it was never, anything that, what should I say, that was like it was an asset. It's what I initially am trying to say with his physique and how strong he was, but also the pace overall. And very young, aspiring project. And I don't know, it's a bummer because for was it for in the 2004-2005 season, if this is correct, he scored 28 goals in all competition as he helped Inter win the Coppa Italia back then. So definitely very beneficial and very influential and whatnot.
Mhm.
But
Imagine, guys, like imagine 42 games. You said that all five, 4, 4 or 5 seasons, 42 games, 28 goals, 5 assists, so 33 GA in 42 games. How much is that? If I'm just saying just those straight up numbers, how much is that guy worth right now in this like modern game? Imagine.
ooh, imagine, that is a very good point. Like what he- what team do you think? Do you think that he will go straight into a lot of different teams now?
Yeah, I mean, number nine in general is generally. I mean, Holland is kind of saving it now, but it's not really a position anymore with a lot of
Agreed.
talent. Osimhen's doing okay.
Yeah,
Lautaro for us is he's good, but like there's not that.
but he ain't that.
Yeah, he ain't that. He ain't that. This was different level. This was
Yeah.
like, he's he's got he can be like a winger, like he could go on the wing and cut in and shoot from with his left. He can be a target man. He can be a poacher. He just had everything. And I don't know if you've seen it. He did an interview last year or a couple of years ago with
Mhm.
Players Tribune, um, and he's admitted that Chelsea wanted him like after this, I think 04 05 season, and
Ooh.
they were willing to offer like lots of big money, and he rejected out of like
Oh,
respect to Moratti, who was the president of Inter at the time. So
I love
he's
that.
even like as a character also like a throwback. You won't find that type of character these
You
days.
won't.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that. That is a very good point. Like, you don't really find, characters like that these days. That has kind of like maybe loyalty and whatnot for set clubs. So that's very nice to see. And I mean, thankfully, he didn't go to Chelsea, and that he, thank you, because that would be hella annoying to see him ripping it up for in a Chelsea shirt in the Prem. Like,
Yeah.
nah, nah, nah. I'm
I think they
sorry.
were they were all right. They got drunk by in the end, so I think
Yeah,
they were
yeah, yeah, I
fine.
mean, hey, that will be another show. Actually, I plan to do a drug episode for
Ooh,
sure.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. So hey, there's spare people. Let me read some of you guys' comments. And people, if you have any questions regarding Adriano, whatnot, feel free to let us know. Big up to Eddie, says 6 likes, keep hitting it. Yes, the more likes we get, the more the video will be pushed out there for other people to see. So show some love, people. Eddie said, didn't Ronaldo and Adriano play a bit for Brazil? I have a memory which may be wrong. I mean, they would have, did they not? early.
I think there
It
was a
should be.
Copa America. There was a Copa America. I think there's a famous picture of like him, Ronaldo, Kaká, and Ronaldinho like together, like doing like a little, team talk type thing. So I think but I think it was just very short period of like
Yeah,
that Copa America.
might more so have been like at the latter stage of Ronaldo's career because, like we said, like we catch like I at least for me didn't really catch the big times for Ronaldo as I was very young. So I've just only heard stuff from my dad and whatnot, but I've seen like the latter stages. But with Adriano, like I said, I did catch the peak. Um, Eddie also says, I agree, Adriano, the peak didn't last enough. Seems to be the thing with these special guys, Ronaldinho, Rubinho too. They party too much? Question mark. And we will be diving into, you know, because with Adriano, there is a deeper reason to why it all went downhill. It's not just about the partying. We need to kind of look behind that as well. Like what really led into all of that, if that makes sense. And sports says, big up to my favorite, the Zodis. A big up. And it says Adriano walks into every team apart from City. He would be a rare gold standard striker. I mean, imagine what Pep could do.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
telling
argue
you.
he'd walk into cities as well.
I would, fam, I think he would. I think he would. Pick up the Ravi. Do KFC. I will save this one for later. Ooh, Ravi has a question. Where was Andriano's best position, and what formation got the best out of him for club and country? Thoughts on that, Uncle Sharma?
um, I think like back in like 2000, the mid 2000s and stuff, like it was much more easier. Like there wasn't like that complicated in terms of tactics. Inter used to
Mm,
play a lot with like two strikers up front. Um, so yeah, like a 4-4-2. So even though he was a big guy and you could be a target man, but I think his best position was probably like being able to roam a little bit. Go up, as I said, like go onto the right side and be able to cut onto his left a little bit. So yeah, like 4-4-2, one of the two, or 4-3-3 lone striker. That's probably I would say.
yeah. Do you have any, clutch like memories, like specific games where you remember, oh, this was like a wow, Adriano game
Yeah,
in your memory?
yeah.
Can you share that
I
with the
have
audience?
probably the Porto in the Champions League. I think he scored a hat trick.
Ooh.
That was iconic. I think it was I think people have seen it. Is the one where the Inter, the horizontal stripe, the third kit
Yes,
we used
yes,
to have.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, the gray one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh,
yeah.
that's a good kit, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was a good kit,
yeah,
iconic, and he
yeah.
scored like a really good hat trick. It was like, just dominating. And then there was a really clutch moment in the Milan derby. It was like a last minute goal from a corner, and he just headed it in and took his top off and
Oh,
celebrated like crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love like he just like the celebration. Like the guy was so passionate. I always love that. The guy was bleeding for the kid. Is what I as really generally did feel like. And yo, but let's maybe dive a little bit more into okay, what led to? I mean, since we already has been mention of it, obviously the peak years and whatnot, 2004, 2005, but there was a specific incident that led into more so the downfall for him after the death of his father. Phone call that he received in 2004 in Milan changed everything. I have a quote here. In a moving article for the Players Tribune, Adriano explained how his father's death when he was just 22 effectively ended his career. And this is a direct quote. After that day, my love for football was never the same. Adriano explained of the day he got the awful phone call while in Milan. Oof. What do you feel about that?
yeah, no, it's that's the interview I was referring to, the Players
Yep.
Tribune one. So
Yep.
I recommend everyone, if you're interested, to go and type it afterwards after the
Mm.
show, to type in Adriano Players Tribune, because he explains a lot in the interview. It's like 40-50 minutes long. It's really good. um yeah, no, it's just one of the most sad things, because especially in the when we weren't in social media back then. I didn't know about these things for like till a few years later that
Me
this guy was
too.
going through all this, because I wasn't like reading Gazzetta or buying the newspaper and being up to date with news. So I just thought like, yeah, this just doesn't look right, this guy. Then you find out that this guy was basically depressed for like most of his time at Inter afterwards because of his father's death. So yeah, it all added up afterwards. And also there's a famous quote from Javier Zanetti as well, Inter's
Mm.
captain, that said, when Adriano got that phone call, we heard his screams. I think, like he
Oh.
said, that I think they were in a different room and we heard his screams. And we tried, like he said, for many years, we tried to save him. We talked to him, but we just couldn't like get him out of that black hole.
Mm.
He said it was my
Yeah.
biggest. I don't want to misquote him, but it was something along the line. He said like that was my biggest loss in my career, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, that oof. I also what you were saying with with social media and whatnot back then, like I really did not know myself. I was thinking like, where is he? You know, just thinking, what happened? And then of course in the rise of social media now, you start to do a lot more research, and then you hear, okay, the problems. It's not just about, okay, of course there's been well, for his incidents, alcohol became kind of a you know uh resolution in
Yeah,
some way, or to try to cope with the issues that was there. And he went into a deep depression. I mean, I know how that feels like with depression and whatnot, the mental health. So I do think it's important that we do highlight that aspect of it as well, because there's been players throughout the years who do receive news, maybe even mid game or right before a game starts, that okay, the relative, somebody close to them died, has passed away. And
yeah,
some people do recover and whatnot. It might take longer, but everybody deals with grief in so many different ways. So I commend them and do respect them for speaking up about that in at that time. So it's unfortunate how it all ended. But even though, despite of that, he still were going for a little bit longer with doing well for Inter, which, hey, not a lot of people could do. So even though it at some point after the 2006 ish, it started to be more of a rocky stint with weight gaining, and not necessarily taking care of yourself mentally and physically. um but I don't know. I just, the whole story really is sad, because he was, like I said, and I go back to this, he was a very, like, at that time, a bright talent in the footballing world. But
yeah,
hey, life happens, and it's a part of it. And like I said, grief makes things a lot more difficult. So,
yeah,
but that's what the show is about, to highlight the good stuff and whatnot. Oof, you know, let's read some more comments here. Eddie says, "Oh no, I didn't know this about Adriano." Exactly. Not a lot of people know.
mm,
So, I do think it's important to emphasize that. Uh, doo-doo-doo. I'll save that one for later. Ari asks, question: which players do you think for club and country did Adriano link up well with? Ooh,
mm. Interesting question.
very interesting question.
I think at Inter it was kind of like, again, that's the thing. He just didn't play long enough for
That's the
to really
thing.
build like that type of
That
thing.
connection,
But
relationship.
yeah, yeah. So I would say the one that stands out to me, like when that question popped up, is I don't, some Premier League fans might remember Mobafemi Martins. Um,
Mm,
he came up. He was quite young when he was at Inter. He played for, I think, Newcastle in the Premier League. Um,
mm,
Very quick guy, small Nigerian striker, and those two, they kind of had a little bit of a partnership going at Inter. Julio Cruz, if people might remember, one of the really underrated strikers from that Serie A era. Um, I think he had a little bit. of an overlap with Christian Vieri as well. But yeah, he didn't. I don't remember a real like outstanding like a partnership. Like with Lukaku and Lautaro, we just know even
Yeah.
though it's only a few
Yeah.
seasons, but there's that clear partnership with Adriano.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think about Martins.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's I also can't really pinpoint like a direct type of link up. I mean, like I said, like I was pretty young, so like that wasn't necessarily the one thing that I was fully focusing on. Like my eyes was at Adriano that
Yeah,
time, you
exactly. He
know.
was like the star.
Yeah, he literally was. So it's a bit difficult to go that far back and whatnot. But ooh, and also he was doing his thing for Brazil as well. Um, Earned 48 caps for his country, scoring 27 goals. Did win the Copa
Yeah,
America.
it's a
I
good
think
record.
also, yeah, pretty good record. I think also what was the Conca something type of tournament? Back in the day when they had was it Conca? I can't remember what it's called, but like the every other year I think it was.
Oh, CONCACAF or
Yes,
something.
yes, yes. I believe that he did also win that actually. So he was ripping it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. After hanging up his boots, Adriano could boast 14 major honors, yeah, including the 2004 Copa America and four Serie A titles. He also finished in the top seven of the Ballon d'Or, not once, but twice.
Oh, damn! I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did a little bit of research earlier, so I was like, yo, okay,
Nice.
freaking hell, yeah. I think also, didn't he
Achieved more
also,
than Harry Kane in
yeah,
less time.
oh, mic drop. I mean, bare people can be saying that at this
Yeah.
point. So, but the fact that even though the career of the peak and whatnot wasn't for as long as we would wish it would be, I would still say that it's still pretty impressive with four Serie A titles and winning the Copa America and whatnot. Hey, and of course some of the personal accolade as well. I would say it's good, but then again, you're trying to think what could have been,
Mm,
you know?
exactly. Especially with strikers, they you peak a little bit later, maybe in your late 20s, like we've seen now, maybe even in your 30s, as you start to become smarter and learn how to use your body more. So yeah, you could just try to imagine, like, yeah, what could have been if things worked out differently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess it's like he was a bright shining star, and it burst it just as quickly as it. Because I don't know if actually people remember the way he burst onto the scene. It was like 2001, I think. He came on against Real Madrid in the preseason friendly for Inter,
Mm.
and he comes on and he talks about this in that Players Tribune interview as well. He comes on, free kick is given to Inter at the Bernabeu, and he's this like 19-year-old Brazilian kid from just signed from Brazil, literally can't speak Italian, and he says he wants to take the free kick, but Materazzi, people should know who Materazzi is. Materazzi is like the one who wants to take it, and he's obviously
Mm-hmm.
a senior member of this team. But then Clarence Seedorf, which some people don't remember, but he was at Inter for a short time as well,
Yeah.
and he says to Materazzi, he's like, "Nah, let Adriano take it," and then Adriano
Ooh.
takes it, and it's one of the most iconic free kicks for Inter because he just literally just smacks it. It's like the edge of the box, like just outside the box, and I think it's a young Casillas in goal, and he just
Ooh.
literally just smacks it near post, and it like no chance. Looks like it looks like one of those cartoon things. They're gonna take the goal off the posts. It's crazy, and that was his beginnings.
His beginnings. Oh, I'm getting like goosebumps while you mentioned that. I'm just like, yo, the he was a baller, man.
Yeah, people take notes whilst I'm giving you these, so go and search these things up afterwards. So it's
Yes.
Adriano Players Tribune interview, and then Adriano versus Real Madrid free kick. Type that in afterwards.
Yeah. After this show, just go
Yeah,
watch some comps. Just
yeah,
people, come on. This is what we're doing. We're celebrating a great guy, a great baller. That's all we're doing. So just do that. Take a little time. You do that. We got a question here from Eddie. It says, where do you place Adriano in top five Brazil strikers that you know of? Does he get into top five ish?
I think you,
Ooh,
because of what we said in terms of, especially in our generation, like
that's the
since
thing.
R9, they've really just like lacked in that position so
It
badly.
is.
Like when you think about it, was it that there was that Fred guy in like 2014 World Cup? Like who was it? Like as we said, there was Pato for a little bit. They've had Firmino over the last few years, but he's like, not really. Um, so I would put him like in, especially with this generation, he must be top five easily because there's just not much
Oh
competition.
yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I just feel like it will be, like you said, it'll be a bit difficult to be like, okay, where are we going to rank? Like, it's different, errors and whatnot. And like you said, the strikers, maybe for Brazil hasn't necessarily been like, the best over the years and whatnot, or the last few years, I should say. So it's a bit difficult to pinpoint exactly where. And like with Ronaldo, like the guy set the bar for so many. So it's like, yo, you
Yeah,
know?
maybe not
Yeah,
all time because obviously we don't know about the guys from like the 60s and 70s,
that's a good point as
but
well.
like from our, I think between late 90s until now, I would say so. Yeah, there's Rivaldo. Yeah, you could say Rivaldo,
Ronaldo.
Romario. But apart from that, yeah, I'm looking at like the top goal scorer list.
Hmm.
And obviously they had Pele. Um,
Of
but yeah,
course.
they've got Neymar, R9, Romario, and then afterwards is like a lot of midfielders: Zico, Ronaldinho, Jairzinho. So yeah,
Yeah, it's people. It's too difficult, but he'll definitely. I'll say, like you said, with that time frame, he'll probably get into top five for sure. Like that. That I don't even think that would be a discussion. Where he would rank, hey, that's not something that I would necessarily elaborate with on right now.
yeah,
But
I think we need more time to
yeah,
discuss that. We need
to
more
discuss
data.
that. Exactly, 100%. Hungi says, "Oh man, am I too late?" No, 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 not at all. Of course, I have a really big soft spot for Adriano. His tragic story makes me sad every time I think about it. Yep, I feel the same way for sure. Ravi has a question. What was your favorite piece of skill from Adriano? I mean, for me, I just, I think it would be like, it's just a strike with the left foot, like that. That was, yo, and the strength is probably what I would think about the most. What is your favorite piece of skill from Adriano?
There's this one iconic one where he against Valencia in the Champions League where he's like the ball is
Mm,
going out, like he's running with the ball and it's going out for like a goal kick, but he does like the roulette just on the edge of the pitch and he nutmegs the guy and gets past him and then he tries to score from like a super tight angle. He doesn't get it in, but it's just like the sheer audacity of trying that and almost pulling it off. And because of what he did, like for his size, like imagine a guy of the size of like Erling Haaland, but like being it with the feet of like of a almost like a this little creative midfielder at times. He was a
yeah,
brute force, but also quite graceful in some ways.
yeah, spot on for sure. Pick up to Ron Jeremy. Says, I wish you all a wonderful evening. May the football gods grace us with their love in this wonderful discussion. What a lovely comment, Ron Jeremy. Lovely comment. Thank you. Pick up to Henry as well. Hope you're doing well. Do, do, do. Hongi says, but with fulfilled potential, I think he would be only second to R9. Neymar and Ku are wingers or number 10s for me. Hey, that is fair. I wouldn't even bless Neymar, but for Adriano, I'm sorry. We can have another discussion about Neymar, but him, that's hey. And Pele, of course, way before my time. That's my dad's time, but incredible from what the things that I've heard and the comps that I've seen. Hey, that's not even the you know let's not make that discussion right here because there wouldn't be any at all. We got some more questions here. Ravi, great, bringing on with the questions. What are Adriana's strengths and weaknesses on and off the pitch? That's a very you know interesting question. What is his weakness, strengths and weaknesses?
Well, I mean, he was very left-footed, so I would say his weakness was like his right foot. He
Yeah.
was one of those guys that, like, if he had to shoot with his right foot, he would still try to shoot with his left foot, like
Mm,
outside of the left. So he wasn't great with that. And I don't know. I mean, what else? Yeah, I mean, again, that's the thing. We never really got to see him really develop. So he was still quite a young player when he was
yeah.
at his best. So obviously, he had like improve his link up play or like other things, like little things that you always say to strikers. Um, but yeah, well, I can't really think of too much else. He was quite complete, I would say, for a striker. Off the pitch,
Hmm.
yeah, as we said, we already talked about. I think
We
his
talked about it.
discipline, but at the same time, you can't, when you go through these big traumas in life, yeah, I struggle to be able to judge the guy for not being more disciplined and being able to
Hmm.
stay. People handle things differently, and unfortunately, I think it's probably maybe picking the right people around him. Probably that was his mistake. It seemed like he had the wrong people around him.
Mm,
People
yeah.
that weren't able to guide him in that period of his life
Hmm.
correctly.
You're spot on. It's important to, especially when you're going through such a heavy loss. Of course, it's important to have like good people around you. You know, people that can keep you level-headed and keep you grounded and whatnot, and to help you along with the grief and the struggles that you're going through, uh, whether it be on and off, especially of course off the pitch. So yeah, um, I definitely would say that that probably is a weakness, but at the end of the day, hey, everybody deals with grief in a different way. So I have full sentiment and empathy for the guy. Uh, Either way. Henry says, can you compare Inter now to Inter when Adriano was playing? I mean, we kind of did mention a little bit with, of course, Lautaro Martinez and, Lukaku with that heavy link up and whatnot. And now Adriano, the sample piece, even though the sample piece that we have been talking about is was pretty impactful for us, but it could have been even broader and bigger, um, due to the short stints, of course. So I don't know. Do you want to add anything more to that, or you feel
Well, I
like?
mean, back then it was like, yeah, Inter were pretty much dominating Serie A back
Mm,
then, so it was different. It was kind of, yeah, we used to have, Figo, Stankovic,
Figo.
Cambiasso, like, it was a different time, like Zanetti, Julius Caesar. It was a, yeah, different time of like Inter now are more, yeah, we had a very rich president who used to bankroll us. We weren't struggling for money back then. So yeah, it's very different times
Mm-hmm.
for Inter back then. But yeah, you made the comparison. Is quite what I like about Inter now is that we're still one of those few teams that play with two real strikers up front. Like it's very rare these days that you see that, and it is quite a bit of a throwback to see Lukaku or Lautaro or Dzeko up front. Like it's
Mm,
a old school striker partnership, like we said, Adriano and Ober Martins earlier.
hey, very good points for sure. There's Big up everybody for the questions and the comments. We do appreciate it. He says, "Can you imagine Adriano prime in the Jose treble in the Milito? Sorry, bruh, you're holding bench." This is what Gungi says. Do you agree with this?
Well, I don't know if you holding Milito would be holding bench because he was like, yeah,
I mean,
the link up, Milito's link up play and the way he was clutch was just like unreal that season.
mm,
Um, but yeah, Jose, funny Hungi mentions it. Jose did try to bring him back. So like Jose joined Inter 2008, 2009 season,
mm,
and Adriano came back from his loan from Brazil at that time. And I remember, like, I was getting hyped that year. I was like, "Oh, Adriano's back from Brazil. He looks leaner. He looks like maybe he's recovered from his issues off the pitch." Him as Zlatan up front is like so exciting. And they did actually. I forgot to mention, yeah, Adriano and Zlatan got to link up for a little bit as well
yeah,
when he
yeah,
came back.
yeah.
Because I was
Oh,
only thinking about his original stint at the beginning, but he actually, yeah, when he came back off his Brazil loan spell, spells. He had a bit of a spell where we used to play like a 4-4-2 diamond with Zlatan and him up front.
Oof.
That was crazy. And there's
Oof.
one of the comments says even Zlatan, even when you know it's real, and even Zlatan is complimenting a guy. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, which when he says it, even Ibra with his cocky and arrogant character gave him serious props and for once talked like a serious person showing kinda empathy. Hey,
yeah,
then you know the guy's a baller. If Zlatan can
Zlatan
give you credit, come on now.
exactly. Zlatan, I think he said he's the biggest wasted the talent that that he's seen. He said, he had everything. So yeah. And there was I think it was a famous Latin goal that he scored. The back heel of the cross. That's the Adriano
Mm.
crosses it in, and Zlatan scores with like a taekwondo kick first time.
Oh, I think yeah. Yes.
That imagine like if we kept
Just imagine if we could have
Zlatan
just
prime Adriano.
oof. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, cooking. Cooking. Dinner will be
yeah,
served. Dessert, all of
yeah.
it. That no.
And he showed flashes of there.
Yeah.
He came back and he was like, he showed some flashes. Adriano was like,
Mm.
oh, he can recover maybe, but I think. And then Mourinho just kind of saw that he wasn't there
Yeah.
still with his head, and I think they sent him to Flamengo that time afterwards, in the middle of the season afterwards. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the last time.
Ah, that is a bummer though. Like that's sometimes that's where you think, just imagine. I mean, spoiler alert: next week's episode is actually going to be Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So it's funny that we kind of talked about him now. So I've already, been planning that. So that's going to be interesting. But woo, Eddie said, "Ask, imagine Adriano with Eto and Milito."
That's interesting. That he could have like Adriano on the right cutting in with his left, Eto on the left cutting in with the right, Milito in the middle. Woo!
I People, I'm speechless. It's just bringing me back to the good old days. Honye asks, can you guys remind me, was he actually in the squad for the World Cup 2006? Because 2002 he wasn't, right? Was he
I
in that?
don't. So
I think he was. Was he
that
not?
Copa America 2004 definitely he was. 2006 World Cup, I'm not sure. I think he was. I think he was, but he wasn't. It was. He was already kind of not bright
Yeah,
in
I
that.
think he was, but obviously didn't, was like pulling up trees at that time. Pretty sure that was the thing, if I
Yeah, I
remember
would have to
correctly.
look it up. I'm pretty sure he was there because I remember like R9 was there, and he was like a little bit overweight.
Oof,
So
freaking hell. It's like, yeah, he was there. Do. Yeah, so I'm thinking, at the ladder, we're basically been, talking a lot about Adriano and bless his heart. I do want to hear a little bit since you and I, we haven't really talked about, even though Champions League final has been, it's gone past them, but there was somebody asking here, since we did mention Lukaku, what do you think of Lukaku in the final?
I think he's one of those guys that's he's become such a meme that like he's the most memeable player I think in modern football. Like he's just the easiest guy to joke about. He's like Lakaka. He's the guy with the heavy touch. Timberlands, Tim Kaku. Like he's just such an easy target. And I feel very sorry for him because
Yeah, I know.
I do actually like him. Like I know some people think he's a bit corny with his like American slang and kind of this
Rap,
persona that he
yeah.
has. But I feel sorry for him because he does seem like he's a little bit cursed. There's something I don't believe in this type of stuff, but he does have,
You
you
start
as
to
an English
kind of
fan will know.
believe.
Yeah, yeah, Europa League final 3 or 4 years ago under Conte, he scores the first goal, but then um, scores the own goal
Oh.
to that was I think that was the winning goal that
Mm-hmm.
took the Sevilla to win the final, and then Belgium in the World Cup. But by the way, people always forget like he literally just came back in that World Cup. He was injured for like the build up, the 3 months building up to it, and they forced him, like, he forced himself to play just those 45 minutes against Croatia, I think it was. But yeah, missing all those chances, and obviously this Champions League final. But he changed the game. Like, Dzeko did nothing for 55 minutes, but people want to put it all on, at least he did something when he came on, but
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't enough.
And now that Dzeko has left, like I think I saw earlier today that he left to Fenerbahce, the
Yeah.
Turkish league. Thoughts about that? Do you feel like, thank you for your service, but it's time to
Yeah.
go? Yeah.
Yeah. Dzeko, like, lots of respect, but yeah, he's one of those guys that we signed, a bit too late, 5, 6 years too late. Like, the guy is 37 now, still, doing well, but it's just like you can't be the starting striker. And he wasn't supposed to be, but because of Lukaku's injuries, he had to be the starting striker again this
Mm,
season. Technically, great player, you know, turns up in big moments as well. Like, he's probably a little bit opposite of Lukaku. Kind of, he seems to have a bit of more of a clutch gene, or tendency to turn up in important moments. But yeah, the legs are gone now, and yeah, it was time to go.
yeah, I mean, the fact that he's been going for so long, like, props to him at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I even did rate him, like, when he was playing for Man City and whatnot. So, you know, hey, but Andrea Onana has been heavily linked to Man United lately. Just, nah.
no, no, no,
Mm-mm.
no. You need to.
I'm just,
The
I'm asking for a friend, just, hey, what are you thinking?
no.
Can that happen? Nah?
No, it probably can. I mean, it definitely can happen. I mean, as people have seen today, what happened with Tonali
Oh,
to
freak.
Newcastle, like,
Oh, I'm shocked.
yeah. We just don't have the leverage, Serie A teams. Unfortunately, we just can't compete in terms of financially. So if you
I
come
know.
correct with the correct money, which that's the thing with Man United. I don't expect you guys to come correct with the money.
We don't.
Yeah,
Unless we
but
get the Qataris, we will not come correct.
yeah. If
100%
it
will.
was Man City looking for a goalkeeper, then I would have been like, yeah, he's gone, because even Pep was
Oh
speaking about him
yeah,
in very glowing terms before and after the
I
game.
know. Yeah, that's it. I mean, if Man City comes knocking, you will say, "Okay, sure. When do you want me to pack my bags?" Like
Yeah.
United, nah, they be taking way too long. Yeah. Oh, freaking out. Um, there's some. Ooh, Hongi says, "Did you rate Coutinho at Inter?" When I asked Sofia, she didn't remember, shaking my head. I ain't gonna lie, I cannot. I'm like,
That was
he
our
didn't.
banter era. That's probably why she was like, "I'm not watching this." The
I'm
teams, they're
s-
finishing like seventh, sixth, seventh in the team.
Oh no, 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 no. He just, I don't know. Coutinho didn't really move me. I ain't gonna lie to you. He didn't move me. He didn't.
No, I liked him, but yeah, he wasn't like, the Coutinho that we saw at Liverpool. But you could see,
Yeah.
like, there were flashes, and back then the Inter was like, we had nothing, and I was, one of the few guys that had a bit of flash of brilliance, a bit of, dribbling, and a bit of, Brazilian, you know pizzazz.
Pizzazz.
So I was very sad when we sold him. We only sold him for like 8 million or
Oh
something
my
crazy
god.
stupid like that. Yeah. So yeah, him and Kovacic were like my boys, and I was very sad when both of those left.
Oh
Kovacic
freaking
I
hell.
still like hold a big place in my heart for,
There's
and
been
now he's
some
gone to your
ballers
rivals.
that. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my god. Kovacic in a light blue kit. That just it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Like, not that it doesn't make sense in terms of him not being good, because I would have loved to have him at Man United, but it's just. mm, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be very odd. Ravi asks, "How quick was Adriano?" I mean, guy was quick. I don't know how
Yeah,
quick, but quick.
yeah.
You know,
Back in before like 2005 or 2006, when he was properly lean, then yeah, he was quick. That was the thing about him. He was big but also quick, powerful. So yeah, definitely a good athletic specimen.
exactly. Another question from Ravi: Which manager of club and country got the best out of Adriano? It was
Oof, that's a difficult question. I don't
very
really
difficult.
know. Yeah,
I don't know either. It's
I
like,
guess Mancini for Inter,
yeah.
but yeah, because I can't really think. Oh, actually, no. When he went out on loan to Parma, because
Mm,
he talked about this in his interview with the Players Tribune, he said Prandelli, who he managed Italy for a little bit, the Euro 2012. and Fiorentina and like a few other teams, Parma obviously. So he said that he was like one of his biggest influences because he taught him how to play as a striker. Because he said, like, I came from
Mm.
Brazil at that time, I didn't know anything. I just used to shoot the ball, bam, power. And he said this guy taught me how to, place my shots and everything. So I guess you could say Prandelli as well and
Mm.
Mancini.
Yeah, it's important to have like a, somebody that can guide you and whatnot. It can't just be like, okay, just do whatever.
Yeah,
Sometimes players do need more so instruction. Like, you gotta let me know, teach me, okay?
yeah,
Because obviously the potential is there, but let me tweak some stuff out and whatnot. Which, hey, we did definitely see. But at the end of the day, like we said, the overall stint of his career hasn't necessarily been the longest. The longevity, which some, maybe modern day players, you see more of the longevity now, even though you saw with some players. But I do feel like maybe sometimes people, I do think somebody was mentioning it earlier as well, with maybe, not that I want to stereotype because that's not what I'm trying to do, but maybe some with the Brazilian players back in the day where you don't necessarily always see the longevity and whatnot. Maybe potentially more now, but back then I do think that we, of course, would have been, I don't know, fortunate to see a little bit longer days, years, if that would even make sense. Eddie says, just seen Adriano's free kick goal versus Real Madrid. Great shout, Uncle. Wow, it's a banger. Hey, Bibo, comps. Just
search it up,
after
search
this,
it up.
search it up. Search it up. Hongi says, wait a second, am I stupid right now? But Shaqiri and even Podolski were at Inter, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
Because
god, we're
Podolski is one of those like quiz questions, like that they ask you, like,
yeah,
because
it
he was, yeah,
is.
literally, it was like one of those 6-month loans that, yeah, not even many Inter fans would remember. But Shakiri was there for like a good, I think, a season and a half. So he was like,
Mm,
yeah, I remember,
yeah.
yeah, when we signed Shakiri, like, he was excited. I was like, yeah, this like exciting talent from Bayern Munich. Let's go.
Oof. I mean, even for Liverpool, like the guy, he had some like really clutch moments, but didn't really get to see like the full of him, if that makes sense at all. But yeah, as we start to wrap up very um quickly or slowly now, I do kind of want to hear more. So, like, is there anything else you want to add about Adriano? Talk about him, which you feel like you haven't said. Anything else you remember of him vividly?
Yeah, I think, as we said, like the character, I do want to praise the fact that, as you said, he was loyal to Inter. He said there was a big offer from Chelsea. He said no because our president Moratti, he stuck with him even though he was going through all these issues. He said, like, he never missed a payment. Like, he always paid him, even if, like, he when he went on loan out to like Sao Paulo, Flamengo, every time, like, he would give him his full like money. Even like sometimes he wouldn't turn up to training or something. Like, they tried to get help for him. Always tried to do his best. So he repaid that with like his loyalty as well. Even though in the end it didn't really work out. Um, and yeah, like, in the end, he said, like, he just returned to the favelas. The favelas are like those kind of ghetto areas in Brazil. That's where he's from, and now that's why he says he returned. Like, he didn't live out somewhere after he got his money. He went back to his roots, and apparently
Yeah,
that's where he still lives these days. Is like a
yeah,
quite humble. Um, yeah, he just made that decision. He could have continued playing. Yeah, he could have just said to Inter, or just stay at Inter, earn his money, stay on his contract till the end, and then try to force his career through. But yeah, he played for a few more years in Brazil, and then just, yeah, called it quits. So I do respect him as a person as well.
oh, I do as well. Like you said, it's just that the character and fact that, okay, he went back to, the ends where he grew up, and he the guy's like, what, 41, I think, I believe he is. So technically, could have maybe played for a little bit longer here and there, but obviously If it doesn't work anymore, it doesn't work anymore. Sometimes you just gotta make that decision. Be like, yo, for my own mental health, I gotta say thank you. We gotta just let it be, and cherish, of course, the good times and whatnot. And hey, he gave us some good times. He did. That's once again, I emphasis with saying this. This is what the show is all about, emphasizing, reminiscing about the good times. And some of you guys did mention, you didn't know about, obviously, with the death of his father and whatnot. So now it's okay to be able to showcase that as well, to why it didn't work out at the end here. So Hungi says, ask who's better, Adriano or Hernan Crespo for you?
Oh, Adriano. I mean, Crespo definitely had a better, like, more consistent career for sure. Um, but like, I think, yeah, just those peak couple of years we got of Adriano, those flash we got of Adriano, definitely more Adriano.
Mm, yes. Also for, I mean, obviously the show is Adriano at Inter because that's what I remember the most. But Adriano for Brazil is also worth mentioning as well because,
Mm.
hey, he did look good. He was saucing up with the yellow green kit. Look good. Look good. So yeah, we will wrap it up now, everybody. But it's been a great show. I just want to thank you, Uncle Sharma, for taking the time to be on here. I really appreciate it, and I mean, the first episode has been amazing to have you on and just you know talk about our guy Adriano. So where can the people find you, brother?
Yeah, well, you've put up the link in the title and in the description, so you can
Yes.
click there. And yeah, just Uncle Shama on YouTube and the Uncle Shama on Instagram. You can find me there. Inter, and I try to make general Serie A content as well, but mainly Inter keeps me busy enough. And I can see as we're speaking, lots of news popping off. So yeah, I'm gonna be busy over
Ooh.
the next few days.
Oh yeah, we both will be busy with the transfer news and whatnot. Like it's a lot. It's mad. Hungi, I'm not a Juve fan. Stop
Hey,
the
we,
shenanigans. Oh,
we did catch you in 4K. He's right
I
though.
I did wear a Juve kit. I did. Hey,
Just tell your dad from this. Don't bring me the black and white kits anymore.
don't
Just tell him. Don't.
anymore.
Yeah,
That one we have it in the collection. It's in the closet. That's
yeah,
that. No more. Bring me more into the
yeah,
kids, brother. More into the kids. Dad is probably watching now. So dad, more into the kids. Thank you. That would be great.
yeah.
Big up everybody that's been here though. Hungi, Tarmisi says big up to the chat. Those days of Pro Evolution Soccer game in Nike. Joco Football Albert
Yes.
were elite. My teenage days. You know, that's something that I miss as well. Like, there's something with the ads back in the day as well with some of these ballers. I don't get that now. It doesn't excite me now. But back then, it was a vibe.
Mhm.
It really
And those,
was a
yeah, like
vibe.
those gold mercurial boots, like that hit different.
Exactly. Big up to Eddie, Adriano better footballer, agile dribble, crazy finish. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so Sofia, you and Uncle smashed it. Very interesting. It's such a quality vibe. Big up, big up to Starload. Eddie says, great show, guys. Really enjoyed this. Hope you do more. Big up the chat. Oh, 100%. We'll be having more episodes on different players. So, like I said, sneak peek or spoiler alert, next episode will be about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who recently did retire. So, I think that will be a fitting episode to do, and we'll probably focus more on his overall career and just a lot more stuff to talk about. But yeah, people, like I said, do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also do subscribe to Uncle Sharma's channel. Like we both mentioned, his channel is linked in the title, but also in the description. So click on it, show some love. Everybody's welcome. So, do that. And give this video a big thumbs up as well as it does push the video to get seen by more people. So, yeah. I will probably have a break tomorrow. I'm actually having my last day at work before I go into my summer holiday. So I might do potentially a short little pre recorded video in the morning. If any major stuff happens, maybe with Man United, you never know. Then we might pop up. But until then, I will probably be back on Saturday or Sunday. But regardless, have a great time, everybody, wherever you are in the world. See y'all soon. Bye bye.
Well,
We are out. Deuces.
Are you all right? Yes. No, you are all left.